Avon Resources Limited is a gold exploration company with significant projects in British Columbia and the Yukon, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol ABN, and the OTCQB, symbol ABNAF. Surrounded by world-class gold deposits and mines, Avon's 23,000 hectares Forest Kerr Gold Project is located in the heart of the Golden Triangle in northwestern BC. For more information, visit us at avonresources.com.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as VRTrader.com. He was the #1 U.S. stock market timer in the January 2020 edition of Timer Digest. He's speaking to us from a sweltering Arizona. Welcome back to the show, Mark.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
Mark, we have a listener question from Andrew. He wonders, with the U.S. pre-ordering 300 million COVID vaccine doses, is this overly optimistic given American skepticism about vaccines? And I think he's trying to find out, too, if you should be investing in these vaccine companies. And, of course, there's always a question of liability, although I don't know if U.S. vaccine makers are now subject to liability laws.
Well, all these vaccine manufacturers, these pharmaceutical company stocks are already discounted, a lot of the financial reward, I think. I mean, I feel like you're chasing the group here a little bit. So I don't know which one to buy. I don't really concentrate on the fundamentals, which company is better than another. We don't know which is better than the other until the vaccine comes out and works, and it's just an up in the air situation. I mean, I'm personally against vaccines. I know many people do take them, but the bottom line for me is, the drug companies, pharmaceutical companies are in this for the money, and they certainly are taking advantage of a bad situation, if not having been part of the cause, So, there's a lot of stories and rumors out there. Not really rumors. There's, research reports about a pandemic and, the need to sort of reduce the world population, and some infamous people like Bill Gates have been part and parcel to these papers that have been written and proposed in years past. So, right now we're spending all this time trying to cure people, but, who are the culprits that really caused all this? Because I don't think it was any accident. But getting back to your question, it's, I'm sort of anti-drug company anyway, and this has nothing to do with the stock market or technical work. I just feel like there's been no cure for any serious disease since polio, and keeping people sick is, unfortunately, part and parcel to the game, and any alternate medicines are poo-pooed, and many attempts have been made to close down a lot of the natural, product companies and alternate products that are out there. A lot of times just good old folk medicine and good old common sense does as much as medicine, these are drugs. So I don't know how receptive people are going to be to it. I think they're being brainwashed to take the vaccine. I sure hope they don't legislate that you're forced to do it. Otherwise, I think I'm going to have to take off somewhere, because I really don't like taking vaccines. Assuming I make it through this COVID nightmare and we're all healthy, I'm not that interested in it, but I guess a lot of people will take it because they're, again, brainwashed into believing that's a solution. And my fear is that they may force people to do it, and if you don't, you're not going to get your driver's license or something. So I may have to stop driving. I have to get on my bicycle, I suppose.
Mark, before we go any further, do you still have your special offer available for our listeners?
Yeah, sure do. We have a bunch of newsletters at VRTrader.com, Jim, Victor Robert, VRTrader.com, and if you order one of the newsletters and you get down to the promo code section on the order form, you can enter the promo code 2020 half off, 2020 HALFOFF, and that will give you 50% off of any of the product that you order.
Now, taking a look at the overall markets, what's your outlook?
I'm pretty much in cash now. I'm sort of out of the market. I pretty much sold just about everything. We're trading a couple things here and there, but I'm pretty much flat the market. I think, we should start experiencing some type of seasonal correction. I know I've been saying this for a while, and we've been trading, but we are short via several indexes, and we, again, may be a bit early Overall, I think the market can and still could go a lot higher down the road, and whether that's 1 month from now or 6 months from now, mainly because of all the money that's being printed out there and all the pressure to keep the stock market up. Last thing the government wants, I think, is a crash stock market. So the old plunge protection team and all those government agencies then go out there and buy the indexes and possibly individual stocks. We already know the Fed has already gone in there and bought some junk bonds. So with that said, I suppose if you come down, we probably can't come down that far now, but it doesn't mean that could go on forever. But right now I'm sort of flat the market. I'm pretty much out. We exited just about most of all our positions, and I'm just sort of waiting for a pullback. You know, there's going to be some individual trades, individual stuff, like we like the gun stocks, for example, because of all the social unrest, and they're trading up. You know, and some of the marijuana stocks, you know, looked like they were bottoming. We're trading those too. We actually sold a few of them in the last couple of days, just because we had a profit and the market looked a little funny to me here anyway. But, you know, there's going to be some stuff that is going to still, you know, trade around. But, when you look at the market, I mean, I'm looking at, for example, Apple Computer going up every day, you know, 10 points a day, and you know, we know what the story is about how few stocks are leading the indexes, and you know, just a handful of names are really, you know, precipitating the gains that you're seeing when you see the Dow or the various indexes up on the day, and majority of stocks are not doing what a couple, four big names are doing. I mean, to me, that's got to be worrisome on some level. I guess if you just own Apple and Tesla and Google and Amazon, and you're making money on those, and that's your portfolio, you know, my comments mean nothing to you, I suppose. You just hold those until they eventually turn down. But in terms of calling the market, I just think you got to be careful here, and, you know, the next month or two could see a very hefty sell-off. But we could be a little early, but, you know, our model said, you know, watch out, some type of top coming between, you know, mid-July to mid-August time frame, and we'll see if it stretches on here a bit longer or not.
Gold and silver at unique points. Gold over $2,000 at $2,076. Silver $29 an ounce. Have they reached the point of resistance yet?
It's almost ditto with regard to my previous comment. We actually have one of our newsletters is the Metal Resource letter, where we focus on the resource stocks and gold and silver, and we actually sold all of them today and went to cash, mainly because a profit is a profit, and B, these darn things are awfully extended, and there's a lot of too much optimism. I could be wrong, but, you know, taking a profit is still important to us, and I think we're due for some type of correction in the gold-silver market as well. So a lot of this, according to many analysts, is related to what the U.S. dollar does. I guess that makes sense. It seems to be working now. There have been periods where the dollar and gold go in the same direction. They don't always go inverse. At this particular cycle, it seems to be working inverse. So if the U.S. dollar starts to rally, that could put the kibosh for sure on the gold-silver rally. There's no question about it. It was a big breakout. Some people say there's a big 20-year cycle. An old friend of mine, Terry Laundrie, who passed away years ago, he had this system when back in the turn of the century where he was calling for a 20-year cycle in gold, which would end in the year 2020. And he said this 20 years ago. Meanwhile, during that period, we went up big to 2011, came down big, and now back up to higher than we've been. So I'm just wondering, is 2020 the big top? And we don't know it yet. Of course, there's still time left to the end of the year. A lot could happen. I mean, between now and December, I mean, gold could be $300 an ounce by the end of the year. But it's interesting that this big cycle said, watch out for 2020. There's some other analysts out there who seem to think it's a 30-year cycle. You know, it's tradable. If we get a pullback here, I still think there's some more coming to the upside because everybody seems to be in love with it. But as a trader, we sort of exited here, and we're going to hope for some type of pullback to get back in. If we have to jump back in, fine. But my bet is we've seen a little bit of a blow-off.
The U.S. has just reimposed aluminum tariffs on Canada again. Should the U.S. be doing anything that makes the recovery there more expensive? And aluminum, I think most of the U.S. aluminum comes from Canada.
I know the aluminum stocks have been rallying in the last several days. I don't know if that's tied to the tariff or not. May or may not be. I really can't answer that question per se. I'm not really sure. But those stocks, the aluminum stocks, are a little extended too. So I'd be looking to take some trading profits in those. As far as down the road, probably higher. The infrastructure incentives that they're going to be put into place here with the big funding coming out of at least the U.S. Congress. There are a lot of names on my list that, everything from concrete to other infrastructure plays, including aluminum and copper, probably will do well again. And if you just want to sit with them, I think, you're probably okay for the next several months because a lot of that infrastructure probably is coming in down the pike. And these stocks and these metals will do okay. As a trader, however, I'm just thinking, particularly the precious metals, maybe not so much the base metals or the construction metals, but some of these have gotten a bit extended here. So I'd be, again, on a trading basis, a little careful. And then if we do get a anticipated pullback, then I would pull the trigger and repurchase them. Again, if you're patient, you just want to sit with them, including the gold and silver, and you just want to sit and you can withstand some type of correction, then you're probably okay just sitting as well. I'm a little bit more aggressive than that.
We'll have more with Mark Leibovit right after this.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlin, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mark Leibovit. Mark, can you tell us a bit about your volume reversal indicator and how people can get a hold of it?
Yeah, sure. It's a technical tool which I've had in my arsenal for several decades. We've got it programmed. It's on two platforms, Metastock and TradeStation. And what it is, it's a little VR plus or VR negative with an arrow, and you see it on your screen, and it tells you that volume is coming into the upside or the downside, and has been very useful for me over the years and has been part and parcel to a lot of my success in the technical world, mainly because what I had nobody else really had. It really wasn't on any other technical screens and still isn't except for these two platforms. And if you go to those, either Metastock or TradeStation, and you're a subscriber to their technical platform and you like to have Mark Leibovit's VR, you just pay, I think it's $90 a month, and you get you get access to it, and it plugs in on your screen, and you can see what I'm looking at, any individual stock, and just about any time frame too, by the way, Jim, 5 minutes, daily, weekly, monthly, and see where the volume shifts occur. But over time, volume precedes price is sort of my main trigger. I love buying them coming off bottoms. When I get a volume reversal indicating buyers are coming in off a low, and I love getting out of stocks or getting short when we're at a top, and then I get one of these negative volume reversals indicating selling. So over time, it just makes a lot of sense that would work, and it's a great tool for those who are technically oriented. Again, Metastock or TradeStation is where you go if you do trade and you do want to see those on the screen.
We'll have more with Mark Leibovit right after the break.
Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, Recycling Trade Publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mark Leibovit. Mark, apparently Tesla is the most shorted stock in the world. What's your opinion on that?
I didn't know that. Thanks for the information. I would No idea that was the case. Where is that research coming from, Jim?
Well, I think I saw it on one of the business news feeds.
Oh, okay. I would be careful. I mean, to me, this is a $2,500 to $3,000 stock. It's a king of the solar name. Solar has been strong. I know there's been some competition out there, or trying, so to speak, competition. Whether it's really competition, we'll find out. On the charts, it does look extended. It's done this before. I like to see it personally break a couple $100. It's around the 1480, 1500 level. I love to see it around the 1200 area. That'd be great as a potential buy. And it does move around. I remember just, before we had this financial crisis or sell-off here in February and March, the stock had gotten up to the 900s and dropped all the way to 350 and then came all the way back, and got to as high as 1700. So it does have the ability to swing around, and I'm not going to short it. I see that it's toppy, and it does have some corrective levels and some, as we call it in technical analysis, some gaps on the charts that look like they might be filled, but the stock could fool you too. I'd rather be a buyer on a pullback if we get it. You'd have to keep a stop all the way up at the high up there. It was at 1780, 1790 level if you're going to short it, and that's still a couple $100 to almost $300 higher than where it is now. So that's really not my kind of risk reward. It's sort of what you're looking for to make on the downside is what you could lose if it goes against you and starts to break out to the upside. I'd be, if I was long the stock, I would just stay with it. If I'm not in it, I would wait to see and hope that you get a pullback, let's say under 1300, and if you don't get it, you might just miss it. So it's up to you how aggressive you want to be.
Yeah, the latest number I had was Tesla recently hit a short interest level of $19.95 billion and could be the first stock ever to hit the 20 billion short interest threshold.
People have been betting against Elon Musk from day one. He's been bad-mouthed since the stock was like $30 or $40 a share. I always believed that this guy was really something special. I don't know if he's the Edison of our time, as many people have said, but the stuff that I read that he publishes, the fact that he created the Solar City, which got merged into Tesla, and he created the SpaceX, and he's got all these other venture companies that are really cutting edge in terms of technology. I mean, we're really dealing with, a very bright guy who's got a lot of great ideas and apparently the ability to fund it. And if they're connected to Tesla, I certainly don't want to bet against Elon Musk.
And he also has the world's most unusual name for a child.
So don't ask me to say it.
Whatever it means. What market sectors or stocks are really attracting your attention right now?
Again, just watching a few things. I mentioned a couple names before. Some of the self-defense stocks out there, the gun stocks and so forth, the taser type stocks. It seems there's a lot of civil unrest. Some argue that a civil war has already started in the U.S. on a certain level, and when the election occurs, who knows who's going to win, but the other side won't accept it, and there could be a lot of violence and upset. And, of course, a lot of these protesters and stuff are paid to do that. This is just not the average mom and pop going out there and breaking down buildings and setting buildings on fire. These are professional Antiva, they call them, arsonists, and, they're out there to destroy the country, and so, a lot of that kind of stuff. So those kind of stocks are probably good to have as the purchases for that needed equipment goes higher. And I'm still a fan of the solar group. Whether the Democrats get in or not, I think that's the trend. Many of them are a bit extended here. If they are buys on pullbacks, I still think they're okay. I mentioned before the cannabis names. There's several names that have made highs here in the last few days. U.S., based cannabis companies, 3 or 4 are listed on our list, actually all made new bull market highs in the last 3 or 4 days. And so even though some bigger names like Canopy Growth and Kronos and Freya and Aurora are well off their big highs from 2019, there are some U.S. cannabis names that are in our cannabis letter that we highlighted that could continue to do well. And I guess the bet is that there might be legalization coming, and it doesn't necessarily have to come from the Democrats. People are hoping that if Joe Biden gets in, God forbid, that he's going to approve, cannabis and legalize it everywhere. It's sort of legal anyway, but Donald Trump could surprise them and maybe sign an executive order, and Trump could trump or trump the Democrats, and you could see that happening. So the anticipation of more positive legislation, I suppose, is driving those up. And I'm just trying to think, what else is out there. The gold and silver stocks on a pullback are probably still okay. Again, I like to see them pull back, and copper and base metal stocks and so forth. I'm sort of neutral on oil here. I think it's a buy, but I don't have a clear signal. So we're watching the oils. There was a nice run, as you already know. And outside of that, we just sort of find individual names, like we traded Eastman Kodak on our service the last couple days. The stock company got approved to create U.S.-based pharmaceuticals, so we wouldn't be reliant on China, and the stock went from like $2 to $60 in 2 days, and it's pulled all the way back to 13, 14, and so we had that on our list as a trade. There's probably, more to Kodak. That's something to watch as a trading vehicle, because indeed, if they're going to create these type of pharmaceutical products, there could be some pretty big business for them. So, very volatile, just something to keep an eye on.
Mark, could you again repeat your special offer?
2020 half off is the promo code when you go to vrtrader.com and get to one of the order forms or one of the newsletters. Just enter that in the promo code slot, 2020 half off at vrtrader.com.
Mark, thank you so much for being on the show.
It's always fun, Jim. Thank you for having me.
My guest has been Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as vrtrader.com. He was the #1 U.S. stock market timer in the January 2020 edition of Timer Digest. If you have any questions for Mark or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Find us on Twitter @HowStreet. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.